Hello everyone, welcome to the Growth Switch with me Cyril. This being episode 8 of the video series. If you've missed out on the other episodes, you can go to the channel and watch them there so that you don't miss out on that valuable information. In this episode, I'll be chatting about personal branding and basically how to manage your personal brand. So personal branding is something that a lot of people take for granted. Myself, up till probably recently, it's not something I particularly used to focus on deliberately, but it's something that's become more and more important. And in this age of social media, it's particularly easier to manage your own brand than it used to be. It offers so many channels and avenues to be able to manage your brand. So what is a personal brand? So you know how there are various organizations and they have their logos and basically that logo says something about them. Some logos it will pop up and you'll be able to know, oh, that's that organization and this is what they stand for and so on and so forth. So that organization has worked over time to build their organizational brand, so that if someone recognizes their logo and so on and so forth, then they're able to understand what the organization is, what it does, what it stands for, and so on and so forth. So the same applies to us as on our personal capacity. Each one of us has a personal brand, whether you know about it or not, whether you know what your brand is about or not, you have a personal brand, and your brand to one person might be something else, to another person might be something else, because it depends on whatever interaction each person has with you and how they feel about that interaction, and how they feel after that interaction. For example, you might not be aware, but you might be, for example, I'll make an example. So a lot of us would have maybe a traditional ceremony at home, and you might have that uncle who's known to be the one who runs the traditional aspects of things. He makes sure that if an animal needs to be slaughtered, he's there, he's the one slaughtering it, and he's known that he's the guy. So we know that, okay, if we want to do traditional function, this guy needs to be there because he needs to manage this whole situation. You might know an auntie who's able to prepare the best traditional meal, if you're going to have a function, we need to have that auntie. Now that auntie has not deliberately worked on that. It's just something that they're able to do, and over time it's become part of their brand. That's okay. Now this person is very good at this. We need to be able to bring them in to do this. So it's important then that you manage your brand. It's basically the difference between. So people will either say, "Who are you?" or you might arrive at a certain function or event, and the people might say, "Oh, thank you for being here," because they know who you are and what you stand for, and that your presence in that particular setting, they know what value it adds. So if you think about your personal brand as well, you need to think about how do you want to be known. So how you want to be known will determine how you manage your brand. For example, if you want to be known as someone who likes to impart knowledge to basically other people to help them develop, then you will do what I'm doing right now, which is this channel that I've started to basically help people grow and share insights that might not necessarily be out there. Basically things that we don't get taught either in school or at home or in university. Basically the lessons that one learns the hard way in life. So why let others learn the hard way when they can learn from us who've gone through it? So you see, so part of how you manage your brand then is having such a platform, you know. Now, if it's necessary, because this comes at a cost as well, you can partner with a branding expert who then help with managing your brand deliberately. They'll have a whole strategy how you're gonna do it, but those people come at a cost. So if you find that you do need those people to help you because you're either not hitting the right notes with your brand, or you're not getting the results that you had perceived that you were going to receive as part of what you're doing, then yeah, by all means go ahead, use them, but remember they come at a cost. Okay, you need to review your brand positioning regularly, so your brand will evolve over time. You know, you need to be able to review. So who you were and who you stood for 5 years ago might not necessarily be the same now. You know what I'm saying? We all know politicians who probably supported someone or an organization at some point, and then now they've moved on to another organization, and they no longer believe in the other organization's way of doing things. That's also part of their brand, right? And we also might be aware of perhaps people in the arts, music, or so on and so forth, who may have transitioned from that and into a fully fledged business career, and now they stand for philanthropy, business, lifting as they rise, and you know. But before they were musical artists and trying to inspire people through the music. So basically, your brand will evolve over time, you know. So now, if you're more into business, you're basically going to position yourself as that. You more at the business seminars, you'll be speaking there. You will not necessarily be at parties or nightclubs and performing there, because that's going to clash with the particular brand audience that you're targeting now in your refreshed brand. Okay. Now, another important thing is you need to be careful of the other brands that you associate with, all right, because they have an impact on your brand. All right. So if you in my latest example, you're a business executive, you're known to be a hotshot in the business world, you make deals. Now, if you are found hanging out with an underworld drug lord, do you realize what that does to your brand? You know, even though perhaps that underworld drug lord might be your childhood friend you've known who's decided to take that other route and might actually be a good guy according to you, but according to the rest of your targeted audience, they might perceive it otherwise. So it's important you are careful who you associate with, because who you associate with impacts on your brand. Okay, I'm sure you've seen sports. Some sports stars, when they suspended for doping, or if there's some sort of scandal, and all of these organizations that they endorse, then suddenly one by one they start to step away, because they don't want their organizational brand to be associated with that athlete's brand, which has now become negatively impacted by their actions. You know. Okay, I mentioned earlier you can use social media to manage your brand. You can have pages there. You can post content on a regular basis that speaks directly to your brand, what you stand for, what you believe in, what you want people to know you for. But remember to not use that platform to basically sound your own horn. Basically, it's basically inflate your own ego, telling people how brilliant you are, you know, how you are God sent, how you know. It's not about that. You need to keep your ego in check throughout this process, because remember, people will associate your brand with having an ego. Each time you come through, people are like, oh, here comes that guy with an ego. You know, you don't want to be that person. So make sure when you use social media, you are managing things appropriately, and you don't come across as being arrogant or, you know, or something to that effect. So yeah, there's a lot of information on this personal branding aspect. It's a massive topic. So make sure that you also do your research out there. But these are the high level aspects I want to share with you that you should consider. Don't let your brand be managed by someone else. You need to manage your personal brand. Don't let people perpetuate things about you and spread things about you. You need to be in control as much as possible of your own brand out there, because remember, you are your brand. So when you show up for an event, people need to realize who you are and the value that you add, and you need to be in control of that narrative. Okay. Now, if you found this insight useful, please share with those who stand to benefit the most, and please like the YouTube page, subscribe there, and follow us on the socials. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and yeah, let's keep growing together.